What's up, guys? It's a little loud in here. I brought out my old mic. Shout out to you, M Sway, calling out the bad audio on the last video. So many of my videos have terrible audio. You guys just power through, man. You power through. Hopefully, the info is valuable enough to make it worth dealing with those headaches. And one day, especially once I like settle in the area. So I ended up because I'm going back to Argentina, leaving some of my stuff down there. So this is an old mic. It's not as good a quality, but it's loud in here. So I wanted to bring it out. So. Man, Corona is becoming more interesting, and I see just a lot of comments. I mean, like everybody's a doctor now. I wanted to talk about it from a deal maker perspective. We talked about it on the Web Equity Show podcast this morning a bit. That'll be coming out next week. All of you listeners are finally back. Season 5 Web Equity Show podcast. If you're not caught up, get done with season 4. These we've already done 2 episodes. They're going to start coming out next week, and they're both pretty awesome. You know, I'm excited about this season. So you get to find out there's a whole new direction for this season, just like we do every season. So be sure to check that out. So go over and subscribe. So as soon as we release that, you guys can get access. So I want to just talk rationally. I'm not a doctor. You know, there are some things that are factual reasons why it is smart to panic a bit. You know, like not irrationally, but a lot of the things I see is like, oh, like the odds are this and da 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 da, and all of that may be true. But from a deal maker's perspective, it's interesting to see. Okay, is it smart to panic or not? And as you guys know, I like to come, thinking from the deal maker's perspective has helped me in so many ways in life that it's interesting to bring it to something like that. But let's talk about just some of like the factual stuff that isn't based on me. It's just based on like what the CDC is actually saying. So one of the reasons people are panicking is that this isn't just the flu. It's like they already know 4 times easier to pass than the flu, and that's just based on the people that they know that have it, and they're saying it could be 10 times more easily passed from person to person. So, you know, whatever. That's the statistic. It's still, somewhat a small thing, but the bigger danger is unlike the flu, where you actually start to feel sick. There are people that can pass it to the next person. Like with the flu, you're really only passing it once you're already feeling the symptoms. With this, it's like a dormant stage where you can be passing it alone and not know that you have it. So that is kind of one of the best. And then, like, obviously, it's just more severe than the flu. So, but forget all of that. If all of that turns out to not be the case, the more interesting lesson from all this for me is thinking about this like a deal maker. It's just logically smarter to panic early than to panic later. And this is a good lesson, even in your business. You've got to manage your panicking. And so, when there's an issue or you see, hey, here is a whole new issue. We've never dealt with it before. We have no idea what the impact is going to be. It's smarter for you to start to panic early rather than later. And there are a lot of just logical reasons for that. But obviously, if you panic late, like it may be too late. So the people are like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Like, it's like, "Oh, that may not just be the smart thing. It literally may be smarter for you to panic early." The person that goes to the store and is like, "Hey, I don't know if it's going to be anything or not. I'm going to buy up all the masks. I'm going to buy this, the Lysol, buy up the wipes, all of that." Now it's all gone, and if it turns out to be something and you panic late, it's over. So it is literally just smarter to panic earlier rather than wait and panic later. Now, the other interesting thing is when you've got something that is systemic, when you've got an issue that and this also comes into play with employees in a business. But taking this Corona thing, if you look at the fact that if everybody has an attitude of, oh, this is nothing, it literally creates the problem. You create the problem by not panicking. So if everybody always like, it's nothing, and they're not washing their hands as carefully, they're not putting on a mask, they're not doing research to figure out what's the latest news, what are the areas to stay away from, what are, just like they're not kind of taking on that thing. It's more of this approach that I see some people online. It's like, like this is nothing statistically, like you guys are overreacting, da da da, not changing anything. Like that literally grows any systemic problem. It's again something to think about in your company. If you have employees and you have some few employees that have, or maybe one employee just has a bad attitude, and you're like, it's when all my other employees are good. Like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna overreact. Especially got 100 employee business. Like, I'm not gonna overreact. Like, that's no big deal. They got a bad attitude. We literally just went through this in one of our businesses where it's got a good number of employees. I won't give the exact number of employees just so they don't know which business it is, but dozens of employees, and just one employee may have been an issue, and it's like, all right, like we really have to panic over this one person because that can spread so quickly. So you want to understand systematic when you've got these systemic type problems. It's a bigger issue than just, what are the odds of me getting it? It's better if everybody on earth really like goes overboard in protecting themselves. Everybody was like, hey, let's shut schools, let's do this, let's not go to conferences, let's shut this down. All of those things are what helps end it. So that's why for you guys, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's with some crazy thing like the coronavirus, it is better to panic early rather than wait and panic late.